Okay, some of you have already started wondering how you're going to include this story, this personal narrative that you have, while also showing the idea or the theme. You've started thinking about how you're going to include those personal feelings that you had in order to show that idea. And this is great. Today we are going to fill out or do this activity to help us organize those thoughts and make it much easier for us to put those into our memoir. In a second here, I'm going to read you an example from another student named Tyler. He wrote down a lot of great external details with lots of voice, and those external details were what actually happened. The things like A, B, C, D, things actually happened in real life, and you could look back and see them. You saw the events. Those were the external events. And then right next to following, so you'd say the external event and immediately following, he would put a little sentence or half of a sentence in also about his internal response or reaction in his own mind. So these were things like what he was thinking, what he was wondering, what he was hearing, seeing, smelling, things that no one else knew. These were the thoughts going through his head. He actually went a step further and explained those to the reader, since no one could tell because they were internal, obviously. He explained to the reader what was going on in his own head in response to that external event that was happening at the time, and he used that to show his main idea in his moment. So as you listen, I'd like you to really try and listen for those external events, the things that are happening, and then red flag, ding, ding, ding. Listen for those internal events too that go right along with those external events. I want you also to keep in mind that internal details, they change throughout the memoir. From beginning to end, they are usually a lot different. Just like you probably feel and think a lot differently between the beginning and end of your memories. So I'd like you to see if you can figure that out. Does he sound different? Is he thinking differently from the beginning to the end? Maybe that helps show his main idea or his theme. So please follow along as I read this bit, the beginning of Tyler's draft, and see if you can point out those external and internal events. I was standing in line, my eyes drawn closer to the roller coaster as if it were the strongest magnet in the world. I follow the cart as it swoops and swirls. It gets along the tracks over my head. I can't wait, I think. I count how many people are ahead of me in line. Nothing is going to stop me from getting on that ride. The Intimidator, my grandma reads from the sign. I look at her and see that she is clutching her pocketbook in her hands and brushing the dust off of her vest. I start to worry. The roller coaster cranks to a near stop, and the people get off. As they flood past us, I hear someone say, "That was awesome!" and "Let's do that again." Out of the corner of my eyes, I see my grandmother sigh with a scared face. I worry more. We step into the cart. "Grandma, you don't have to go in." "It's a pretty big ride," I say, wanting her to get off. I hear a click click, handlebar lock against our stomachs. I feel like my grandma is trapped inside her worst fear. This is our last chance. Do you want to get off? All right. So this was the beginning of his memoir. Let's go back and just look really quickly, maybe at just the first couple sentences there, to see if we can identify those external and internal events. So I'm reading along. I was standing in line, my eyes drawn to the roller coaster. So that's external. That's what's actually happening. He's saying physically on the outside what was happening. He's standing in line and his And then, boom, his eyes were drawn to the roller coaster. So that's what he was seeing. It's right there in one sentence, external and internal. All right, then he goes to the next one. I follow the cart as it swoops and swirls. Okay, external, so that's what he was actually doing. It gets along the tracks over my head, so external. I can't wait, I think. Look at that. He included what he was thinking right there in dialogue. That's a pretty good, interesting move. I like that. All right, so that was just an example, the very beginning, just to show you how right there he includes external and then boom, internal right with it. So now what I would like you to do to prepare yourself for getting this moment when we're going to write them all together is to get one of the timelines and go ahead and go through it, filling out your external events, what actually happened in the story over on the left side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way down, beginning to end. And then filling out your internal events, your details, your thoughts, your responses, what you were wondering, seeing, smelling, hearing, so on. Fill out those on the right.